Well, thank you all for being here. I know that our community has been in the spotlight this week, and appreciate that you guys have been trying to communicate out about that. We wanted to provide this time for you to just get the information out. And so a couple of things that I just want to call to attention, and then I'm happy to take questions for about 15 minutes. Obviously today I accepted the resignation of Camas High School Principal Dr. Liza Sejkora. It's been a challenging week for us. Anytime you have a leader that makes a mistake publicly, and goes through that with the community is really challenging. So, and then in addition to that, we've had a pretty disruptive week. So in terms of what our students have been able to experience, certainly a lot of life lessons. So there's learning going on for sure, but not the same kind of learning that we would expect on a day-to-day basis at our schools. So I'm happy to take questions, and I haven't done too many of these press conferences, but there's certain questions that I won't take today, and you can probably anticipate which kind of questions those are. Feel free to try to ask them anyway. I'll try not to be rude. Yeah.
Will you continue to be the interim principal?
Yeah, I think it's important right now to kind of create some stability at Camas High School. We definitely, I can't serve as principal. I have some other responsibilities as superintendent in terms of the long term, but I'm going to be there for the next few days at least. And it was an honor to be there as principal this week. We have amazing staff and students, and just a chance to get to connect with them and listen to where they were at and some of their concerns really inspired me to work even harder for them.
Can you talk about the security protocol moving forward? I know there's been a variety of reasons for lockdowns this week, stemming from the Facebook post. What happens next week?
Yeah, so it just, we only had one lockdown this week, and that was this morning. But as you mentioned, we did have a Facebook post or some sort of social media post that alluded to some sort of threat to Dr. Sejkora. And so we take all those seriously. All week we've been monitoring social media and emails throughout the night to make sure that we're prepared for the next day. And then this morning we had a parent that saw some suspicious activity and reported it, which is exactly what we want as a community. When we were unable to locate and make sure that safety concern wasn't addressed, then we went into lockdown for a short period of time. And so next week we'd be doing the same thing, right? Just paying attention, listening to our students, listening to our parents. We'll have additional staff on hand, smiling faces. I know our students, they want a normal week. They're really looking forward to that. As we were leaving school today, I can't tell you how many came up and said, "Hey, are you okay, Mr. Snell?" And because we're ready to kind of get back to normal, and I am too.
You'd mentioned earlier this week the high standard that staff here is held to. Do you think when it comes to social media, principals need to be held to a higher standard?
I'll speak to the standard I hold myself to as superintendent. I have the privilege of representing a community in my role, and when I accept that responsibility, I do have to kind of put aside some of my own thoughts and beliefs and think about how I'm communicating and how that puts our community in a good light. My job is to forward the students in this community and help them grow. And so everything I say or do can either contribute to that or take away from that. And so that's the standard that I have for myself. And I think people in the district would probably agree that that's a standard that they want for them too.
Will there be any sort of training for any staff members or teachers, principals going forward?
We have ongoing training related to that, and we will continue to do that. I think that the world continues to emerge around those fronts, and so paying attention to that, being thoughtful about what we do and how we say it is always something that we can grow on.
You touched on being the interim principal right now. What is the plan moving forward to get somebody else in Dr. Sekora's position?
Yeah, we want to talk with staff a little bit. You know, obviously this week, you know, our focus was on safety and our focus was on what's going to happen with Dr. Sejkora. So now that those, that some of those things have been identified, then we can move forward and think about a plan. We have amazing staff, so we'll work from within first and try to create some stability around that. And then for the long term, we need to think about a process to engage our community and what we need in the next principal. Yeah.
Can you talk about the administrative leave process? Because Dr. Sejkora was put on leave as of Tuesday evening, and how did that play out, and when did the resignation come in?
So administrative leave is just a tool that we use to give space around an evaluation process. So anytime there's an investigation, if it feels like having the staff member at the site could compromise the investigation or disrupt the site, then administrative leave is used. And so then today in communication with Dr. Sejkora, she just shared that she felt like a resignation was needed. She wanted to not be a disruption. She cares a lot about our community. She loves being principal at Camas High School. She loves the students and staff. And I'm sure as she's seeing things unfold, you know, that probably factored into where it led her to the resignation, and I just defer to her statement on that.
Given all the events from this week, do you think her presence was becoming a disruption?
You know, that's why I put her on administrative leave. So, yeah.
How many students were out of school today?
I don't know. I was just concentrated on kind of working through the resignation, and I met with staff at the end of the day to communicate that with them. So that is information that we could provide to you.
You mentioned in the letter that you sent home to both the parents or whatnot that it was, you know, sort of, it's in the middle of the school year.
Yeah.
So is that something that's unique in this regard, that we gotta make a change in the middle of the year?
I think so. You guys are here, so there's some, it's not typical, right? And we give a lot of thought when we're hiring principals. You know, we go through a pretty extensive process that engages students, parents, and community, and we try to have those positions filled and ready to go for a year to come. So to have a change mid-year is definitely out of the ordinary. And it will challenge existing staff to kind of figure that out. Also, when you're looking around for a brand new principal, you know, most great principals are working right now. They have jobs, they're serving school communities, and so that's most likely why we'll go in an interim direction and then figure out where to go from there.
This is a national story, some might say international. To those who are gonna see this latest development, what is the message you want to express from this community and from the school regarding everything that's happened the last week?
Yeah, I think number one, when I heard from students, they would want me to say, this is not Camas, right? I heard that over and over from students that they're really proud of their school, they're really proud of their town. They felt like, you know, they were being portrayed in a negative way, and they felt that that was unfair. So I think, you know, to a previous question, my role as superintendent is to say we have an amazing community. We certainly have make mistakes in our community like any other community, and we rally around each other, and we're going to move forward because we have this shared belief that we love our kids and want the best for them, and so that's going to be our focus, and that's what I would tell people that were wondering about Camas. Yeah.
What are students saying in the school? Are you talking with them directly, and what are they saying to you?
Yeah, well, I would go for a long time if I answered all the things that they told me. Anything from, you know, the Blazers game and Damian Lillard going off to, you know, just wanting to be at school and kind of be a normal junior or senior and kind of get back to, one student told me, I just want to learn the French Revolution. You know, that was something that they were supposed to be learning about, and it was getting delayed and sidetracked. And so the other thing is just genuine care, right? Care for Dr. Sejkora, whether they agreed or disagreed. She's somebody that they know, and they're worried about her and her family, and then they're worried about each other. You know, they're trying to figure that out. So I think consistently, kids are great. Like, I just, that's, you know, some people have asked me, you know, it's a tough job sometimes. It certainly is. It's the best job in the world too. You know, I get to talk with kids and staff all the time, and even in challenging times, you get to see who people truly are, and I've been privileged to see that with our students this week.
Will the kids have to make these days up?
In terms of like excused absence, or, you know, we talked with staff today that you know, these are extraordinary times, and so if a student felt like they were unsafe at school, then, you know, it's going to be an excused absence. And, you know, we had a lot of students that made that decision over the course of the week, and so we're hoping that they'll feel more safe. You know, having a decision like this allows for some closure, and maybe we can move forward and, you know, get back to business a little bit. About 3 more minutes, maybe a couple more questions. Yes.
First, I want to thank you for doing an amazing job this week. I know I felt pretty safe at school, and it was great having you there and other staffers being so supportive. And I just want to know, do you have any specific steps that you're thinking about taking next week to continue helping us feel supported?
I think the most important thing is to be out and be visible, and really encourage all of our staff to do so. You mentioned, you know, those moments where we can talk with each other. I think not only do they kind of buoy your spirits, but they buoy staff spirits as well. And so that's the first thing. I think we need to continue to listen. You know, this is a pretty major event in our lives, and so students and staff are going to need some care. So paying attention to each other and looking for an opportunity to reach out to each other. I think those are the most important things in moving forward. Maybe one more?
Was the lockdown like exacerbated by everything else that's been going on this week?
I think that certainly was a factor, but you know, it's interesting because we've been practicing lockdown drills and doing what we call tabletop exercises, and we've actually, our scenario has been a threat before school starts. That's the most challenging time for schools to control what's going on in a building and who's coming and going. And so it was nice to have that because we were able to, you know, we weren't sure if there was a threat, and we wanted to be sure about that. So we were able to contact transportation and reroute buses and keep kids away from a situation. And then that allowed us to really get to the bottom of that a lot quicker, and then get back to kind of a normal school day. I know it was, you know, because of the other events, I think that you mentioned, it was hard to find that normalcy today. You know, that event that unfolded this morning could really happen anytime, any place, at any school, anywhere. And so when that happens, I think, you know, parents also are charged, unfortunately, because we have too many violent situations at schools, and being a parent is hard to know where my kid is safe and where they aren't safe. And so when a drill like that happens or an event like that happens, we just want to try to respect parents and their desire to protect their kids. So,
did you determine who the individuals with the backpacks were?
Yeah, so we actually, you know, there was a description of the two individuals that didn't look like students because of their age going into a school, and a parent saw that and provided us the description. This was about 20 minutes before the school day started. So we found 2 kids that looked like that description and interviewed them. That it was clear that there was no problem there. And then the parent texted a picture of the 2 students, and they weren't the same 2 students. And so at that point, we tried to determine the identity of the 2 students from a picture, but given a cell phone from a long way, we just couldn't determine the identity of those students. And that's a risk we weren't going to take. And so we went into lockdown until we could find those students and determine their identity, and assure parents that it was going to be safe at school today.
So they were students.
What's that?
So they were students.
They ended up being students. They did nothing wrong at all. They were amazing students. In fact, one of them, the teacher told me that, you know, because we you know, called their parents and talked to them about what had happened, and he said, "I'm just glad that they take safety seriously." So that was nice to hear from them. maybe last question from my, sorry, saw you had one.
Yeah, were your security protocols working the way they were supposed to?
Yeah, they worked really well. We do, every time that happens, like, in terms of our notification that goes out to parents, because we've been trying to be very aggressive with sending out communication this week, and we have had some places where like email addresses don't work right or something like that. But that's more on the back end of things. In terms of managing a situation in the moment, the staff there were amazing, and the students were amazing too. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you coming out. The statements are there. There's a video, that we wanted to share to students. It's really important to me that, based on being there all week and seeing students and looking them in the eye, I wanted them to hear about Dr. Sejkora and how we were moving forward from me. And, trying to do that to 2,000 students is a little challenging. So we sent that video to parents, and also encouraged parents to, if they feel so inclined, to talk with their kids about what unfolded this week. And I heard a lot from parents that there have been a lot of dinner conversations about this week at Camas High School. So thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, everyone.